Welcome to Rising Tides Live. I'm your host, Shawn Walchef. This is a Cali BBQ Media production. It's Friday, which means it is our restaurant technology showcase show, Pitch the Tide. We have a guest today. His name is Nick Bryant. He is the VP of Sales for Powerhouse Dynamics. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you. If you're watching on LinkedIn, thank you. Wherever you're watching, we want you to be a part of this show. You can go to betheshow.media/Rising Tides. You can join the show. You can come up. You can give some feedback. Today, we're going to learn all about Powerhouse Dynamics. I'm very excited to have Nick on. Let's go ahead and bring him up onto the stage. Nick, what's going on?
Hey, Shawn. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Welcome to the show. Thank you for being here. I'm going to give you the floor and let you share the story and let our community know. If you're watching this, Digital Hospitality, the podcast, this will be replayed on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, on YouTube. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for sharing. We're growing this community. A rising tide lifts all ships. No matter where you are, this community shows up. So all the major restaurant and technology events throughout the country and in different countries, we show up, and we're trying to build a very strong community. And Nick, we're grateful to have you go. So floor is yours, my friend. Go for it.
Yeah, I appreciate it. So what I want to pitch today is really just talk about IoT, what that means, and how we're impacting and driving change in the hospitality industry. I am Nick Bryant. As Shawn said, I'm the Vice President of Sales for Powerhouse Dynamics, the makers of the Open Kitchen platform. Okay. So one thing that we've known for a long time, hospitality has been in my blood. I've done it for over 25 years on both sides of the counter, from an operator with a big publicly traded company all the way down to a regional franchise level, helping scale out a pizza chain located and based out of Houston. So I know what operators go through, and it's really interesting to see this awesome evolution of how digital tech can impact businesses, especially coming out of COVID. So I want to talk about a little bit of the challenges that we see, that we hear on a daily basis. So Mike, if you want to go to the next one. So today's challenges, what we hear and what we see is the lack of visibility. Labor is hard to come by. So you often have one person running and managing multiple, restaurants all over that scale. From, talked with somebody a couple of weeks ago, a facilities manager that operates 140 units across the Southeast. And he just says, Nick, I don't know what I don't know. So oftentimes I'm troubleshooting in the dark. So lack of visibility across the enterprise or multi-unit has been an issue. Rising cost, like I mentioned, labor in general, it's hard to come by. So people are trying to stretch individuals to the point of, where they just frankly get fed up and can't manage it, and then move on to maybe a smaller brand or somebody that will give them the resources. And then inefficiencies. So tons of manual processes, a bunch of reactive, hey, it's hot in here. Hey, my grill's not working. Hey, my oven isn't heating. And any time a piece of equipment is down, that's obviously lost revenue opportunities. We often hear when you go in, if you wanted, a fountain drink, or if you wanted that and it's out, you're going to go back and say, hey, I came in for, a Diet Pepsi, or, I want a shake, or, if your pizza oven's down on a Friday night, that's a real issue, and that's lost revenue opportunities. And that obviously grows with negative publicity, and we all know the power of social media. So we do our best to listen to those operators and really try to solve a problem that they have at their individual brands. Go to the next one, Mike. So this is what I like, our pictures, or 1,000 words. So this is really what we try to do when we create the ecosystem. If you've been in restaurants and you've talked to any multi-unit operator, as long as I can remember, we talk about the kitchen of the future. Everybody's always working on the kitchen of the future. There's more strategic brands 3 to 5 years out. It's, hey, we want this to look like this, and how do we connect the dots, right? So I think this is a really, really great illustration of how we take a ton of data from an actual single unit and broadcast it up into the cloud and give actionable insight with that data to enable a connected kitchen, smarter operations, more automation, from a service aspect, from a menu distribution aspect, to just really getting the pulse of what's going on at the individual level, and then scaling that out across thousands of units. So that's the kitchen of the future. We talk about it. One thing I want to be super clear: when it's Open Kitchen, we are the #1 IoT industry leader. We are redefining the future of hospitality. I know that that's a bold claim, but we are, because this is something that doesn't exist. I'm all about riding waves. I know Shawn, there's Cali and all that stuff, but I was involved in my prior life of selling digital technology for the front of the house, the point of sales, the online ordering, the loyalty programs. And then I got a call and said, hey, what about back of house, Nick? Have you thought about how to connect all of this? So when we saw COVID happen, everybody was scrambling to try to really focus on their off-premise. And then it's like, what happened about the back of the house? You can't produce food if your equipment's down or if it's not running optimally. So I said, well, that's a really intriguing thought. And then I was pitched to come to Powerhouse, and I said, wow, this is pretty incredible. So yeah, this is what I think about. And this is the easiest. I think if I showed my 4-year-old daughter this, she could get what we try to do. Connecting pieces. If you're at home right now, look around. You've got your Siri devices. You have your Google Homes. You've got your Alexas. Think about that for a kitchen, letting you know when something's failing, letting you know what firmware is on a piece of sophisticated equipment. That's really, really what we do, is design for Fortune 500 companies. What does their vision look like? And it's all about data and making sure that they're making educated decisions with the data as they scale and continue to grow. Mike, next one. One thing when it comes to Open Kitchen, and we have talks with full departments, we reach and touch a lot of different departments when it comes to culinary execution, right? And they're the front lines that are plating the food, that are getting out there. We talk with operations teams and then facilities teams, right? So we are 3 pillars, and we'll talk about it on the next slide, the entry points. What's impactful for how to get the food or fryer quality and food safety and all of that is very different than the operations teams that's trying to reduce steps, right? So then we have to paint the picture about efficiencies of how they're actually utilizing the equipment on the culinary side. And then of course I've got a very, very sweet spot in my heart for all the facilities teams that literally just get the phone calls that say it's broken, or that it's hot in here. These guys are really the front lines that try to move and do the service calls and work with Service Channel and ServiceNows to try to make sure that they're making sure that all of their locations are operational. So the facilities teams typically are who we talk with first to try to identify a problem, and then it kind of scales out of, if I gave you this box of insight, who would use it? Where do we point it? Who needs to see it? So this is these are the teams we typically get involved with. And then from there, engineering kind of steps in and has their IT speak, which is way above my head. And they talk with our engineering team about pointing and shooting stuff to, X, Y, Z. So these are the teams we typically work with. And then this is our platform, that these are the entry points. So 3 things that we do is connecting cooking equipment. So it can be from a fryer to a shake machine to a rapid cook oven. We are owned by Middleby. We were purchased 6 years ago. Middleby, if you don't know, owns about 84 commercial equipment brands. So chances are, I say it in my head, Middleby is everywhere. You go into most, if not any chain restaurant, and they're going to have a piece of equipment that's owned by Middleby. We were acquired 6 years ago because this was a strategic vision of, hey, we've got all of this, and people, long go the days of just, I want to have a fryer, turn it on and start cooking. Well, we want to see failure. We want to see oil quality, right? We want to see how it's being used. Are the set points correct? When are they being turned on? So then that's, they've really added a lot of great fuel to the fire of helping push us and saying, hey, this would be a good integration for something like a Turbo Chef. This would be great for a Pitco fryer. So every day is different, and every brand's got a different use case of what they want and expect out of the data that we pull. Refrigeration temperature management is the second thing. So You can ask a lot of restaurants, hey, what happens if your walk-in goes down? They say, oh, well, we just lose $5,000 to $8,000 of inventory. So that's a really, really good entry point for us, is to throw some temp sensors around, and we monitor those, and we can send alerts 3 different ways: email, text message, push button notification, or you can dive into the actual web-based platform. We have a mobile app as well. But temp monitoring, I think it's kind of crazy when you talk to a lot of major brands, they don't have that, because a walk-in cooler going down on a Friday night is just an absolute nightmare. So temp management and temp monitoring is an automated HACCP logs. We do a lot of work in the school districts where they manually have to go and do temp logs. Everybody's got a checklist, punch list. So we can actually automate those and ensure that they're not being pencil whipped because you're busy on a Friday. And then energy management. So energy management is where we got our start at 16 years ago. AI-enabled smart thermostats, full control for enterprise, setting schedules, controlling lockouts, and then really monitoring energy consumption and mitigating that with not having certain rooftop units on at certain times during the day. And I know that there's some I've heard from a bunch of West Coast brands, a lot of OSHA regulations around having to maintain a certain level of temperature. And if you have a rooftop unit that's underperforming, they can physically come and shut down your establishment. So we all 3 of those 3 things are ways to get into Open Kitchen. It's exciting that it's not a one size fits all, and we are the only platform in the space that offers all 3 in a single pane of glass. You're going to have people that do energy management. You're going to have others that do temp monitoring. A couple individual brands try to do their own version of connected equipment. But again, we have a very open source to where we don't care if it is just a Middleby brand. We integrate with a lot that we'll talk about in the next few slides. So temp monitoring, like I said, kind of somebody referred to it as the gateway drug the other day. Really easy to get in there. We catch one walk-in cooler going down, again, saving those big ticket items. We had a notable nationwide chain, predominantly all protein, a big steakhouse. We had temperature monitoring there. We caught on a Friday night right after a fresh truck roll and saved them $22,000 of inventory by notifying their GM at 10:30 at night to move all of the inventory either into the freezer or another location. So he calls up all of his management team. They're loading up trucks, literally taking out, sirloins, ribeyes, filet mignon, and moving that to the second, the closest location. So temp monitoring, easy to get in. If you got questions about that, let me know. But that's kind of what we first start off as, let's throw some of that. If we catch a walk-in going down, which everybody knows it's going to go down on a Friday about 4:30, ready for the dinner rush. But that's the first one. Energy management, again, this is a little bit, this is pretty easy to understand. It's the old adage my dad said, why are you leaving all my lights on? Well, imagine something that draws about 30x the power, which is a rooftop unit. So letting them coast up and drift in certain times of the day. I don't need my dining area to be 72 at 3:30 in the afternoon if I make it go up 1 or 2 degrees. What this really encapsulates is the savings of really controlling the box and making sure that you have everything unified is powerful. We catch underperforming RTUs. RTU repairs are expensive, very expensive. It's expensive just to get a $1,000 truck to go out there and diagnose the problem. So with our technology over the years, we've crafted to where we can actually have preliminary alerts of when we think things are failing based on power draw, based on supplier temperature not being accurate or matching the thermostat. So energy management is it's nothing new, but what we see on average is if you guys go look at your electric bills, even at residential, everything's going up 10% a year. So what we can do if we can curtail that, this has immediate ROI that we can get back and help facilities teams catch when they're managing 100 units under them. I'd say, hey, rooftop unit number 2, serial number X, Y, and Z at the Wood Edge location. We think that there's a problem. You need to go and check that out, and that's super impactful for the end user. And then connected equipment. Open Kitchen, like I said, we are the only IoT platform that is OEM agnostic. So we don't care what it is, the end user, if it is a sophisticated piece of equipment, which typically means it's got a digital controller on that, we can get the data out of it and push it to the cloud or push it to wherever you need the data. So this is super impactful that I think about it from a service aspect, a one-call resolution. I think about it from distributing menus. So if you guys have ever been to, say, a notable sandwich shop, or and you say, hey, they're going to roll out an LTO and they need to distribute menus across 1,000 or 2,000 locations and make sure that everybody is following spec, we can do that with the Open Kitchen platform, literally within 8 clicks of a button. And then access to real-time food prep. One thing that I thought was amazing when I started here is considered real-time is typically 15 minutes in tech speak. We ping every minute to transmit data back and forth. And then benchmark equipment on key metrics, right? What are we selling, right? If that LTO was a dud, we don't need to bring it back next year. So connected equipment, this is something I'm super passionate about because I wish I had this as an operator 6 years ago. But this is really cool because there's specific use cases for specific brands that we really dive into. And this is the last slide, but connected equipment, just full potential, right? We can automate savings from, energy management, reduce repair and maintenance cost, one-call resolutions, product safety and consistency. So that goes to temp monitoring, reducing food waste, right? So if you're over prepping and we can see how many fries you're dropping in the fryer, how many times you're hitting that button, that's got impact on the way you run your business. Maximizing equipment uptime. We read a stat from my friends at 86 Repairs. Shout out to those guys. Love them. Daniel's awesome. But he said, hey, the number one problem that we see of job abandonment comes with equipment uptime. You're asking a fry cook and you're getting on him for not having the food out, but he's been telling the GM, hey, this fryer, my second fryer has been down for 2 weeks. Nobody's going to fix it. I'm going to go find another job. So maximizing equipment uptime obviously has financial ramifications, but also for labor and your employees. You want to make sure you're giving them the tools that are operating, at a maximum level, and they're not getting frustrated. If you've ever tried to cut with a dull knife, you get what I'm saying. So improve employee satisfaction. That just goes back to when the equipment's running right and my shake machines and my ovens are cooking and my fryers, and it's a well-oiled machine. That's why people come back and work. So that's, Open Kitchen in a nutshell. Think about a smarter, innovative kitchen, and you've got a lot of data points, and all the biggest brands that you have that you go to on a daily basis are enamored with data, how they can utilize it. So there's a little bit more of a secret behind the sauce at some of these national and international brands that we talk with on a weekly basis.
You're muted, Shawn.
I'm usually never muted. Great job, Nick. First question is how many customers do you guys have?
So if we go by rooftop, we're in 16,000 locations.
Yep.
With over 50,000 pieces of equipment connected.
Wow. So
yeah,
my feedback, and I guess logos too are impressive. So like leading with I'm sure you work with the top brands, right?
Yeah. I wish I could. I knew that would be a conflict. We have pretty crazy NDAs with
really?
Yeah. I mean, if I told you, what McDonald's.
So you can't tell prospects that you work with certain brands? Is that your NDA or the brand's NDA?
It's both. So you can go on the website and see some of them that have given us. Yeah. But data secrecy is a big, and how they're utilizing it. So the same fryer could be sold across, and it could be sold across from McDonald's to Burger King to Raising Cane's. So if I had to tell you how Raising Cane's is utilizing data versus McDonald's, we do have an ethical wall as far as, what we want to. But again, we don't get into that minutia, but what's really cool lately is we've seen a lot of I call them, how would I say? Because they're brands that you wouldn't have really expected to be really engaged with this.
Yep.
But there's a brand. So Firehouse Subs right now is rolling out a fry program, right? And that's a brand that, it wasn't, it's not Jersey Mike's. It wasn't anything that's really gaining that notoriety. Well, if you go look at their last 4-quarter earnings, they're crushing it. They're doing a fantastic job, and they're all on board about data, how they're utilizing it. There's another notable smoothie chain, and the name's in it, but they're rolling out a food program, and they've never had food before. And data is at the forefront of what they want to do, and they're rolling out of this. So a lot of brands, you would expect, you guess it, that the Chick-fil-A's of the world, the McDonald's of the world, you would expect them to be, light years ahead, and they've got pretty good stuff, but they still come to us and ask for, hey, what would we do with this? What about the hardware? How do we connect all of this? So there's every day is different, and what Raising Cane's wants is very different than what a Burger King wants or anything like that. So it's pretty cool. We've got to protect some of them because we do have a long-lasting historic relationship with most of them. But I mean, most of them are pretty open to talking about, like, hey, this is how we want to use it. But we're really at the early stage of architecting how, data, because there's not if I ask you right now and you're running your kitchen, Shawn, if I could solve one thing with data that keeps you up at night, what would it be? And you'd have to think about that.
Yep.
And that's the same question I have to ask with, Fortune 500 companies. Hey, if I could solve this with this grill, what would that do for you? And they say, well, we don't know, Nick, because we've never done it. This is change management, right? Which is difficult.
Do you consider yourself more hardware side or software or data?
Software. We're trying. We are doing our best to get out of. Right now, we're working on embedding these digital controllers inside and getting out. Now, obviously, our parent company, Middleby, is equipment. They're all hardware, or all but software in general, we're really focusing now on. We've got dashboards. Dashboards are great. There's also dashboard fatigue. So we're really asking people how they want to package the data and where to send it. BI tools. A lot of people.
Where are the bigger brands? Because I'm guessing your ICP is more mid-market and enterprise.
It's all enterprise. Yeah. I would say there's still a laggard. I still think we're way ahead of what. I think
it's so far ahead. It's crazy.
2026,
we're this far ahead of how many pieces of equipment are out there that are not connected, that don't talk to financial models, that don't talk to point of sale model. I mean, it's exciting. It's exciting because it is the Wild West.
It is. We sit on a lot of more thought leadership calls with big brands of how it could work. And what we do is ask them to design what their kitchen of the future would look like and where we would play a part in it, right? And where we would sit. So, I think we're definitely, I think this is a 10-year road. This isn't hey, I'm going to develop my own POS, or hey, I'm Wingstop and I'm going to do my own online ordering, right? Yeah. Great, awesome. We're going to leave, the big national, website builders or whatever. It's I think it's not infant stage because we're out there, we're in market, we're selling thousands of pieces of connected equipment a year. It's really, I think what's really cool is we're seeing a lot of leadership at major brands kind of phase out and bring new, young, innovative minds that see what this could be. And then we just sit back and say, yep, we can do that. Yep, we can do that. How do you want to do this? So I think that's the challenge, is we touch so many departments, like I mentioned, that it's almost like finger pointing of, am I going to have to manage all the data? Are we going to throw it in this tool? Is the facilities guy going to be able to see it? I think that's where maybe the rub is right now, is we're just now seeing these chief information officer titles pop up, or CTOs, chief technology officers. That was not a title, 10 years ago.
No, not for restaurants. No chance.
No. So now that we're seeing these people come in and identify inefficiencies, it's really exciting. This year was it was an incredible year, tons of buzz, and just a lot of great. Well, what if we pulled this lever and we can do this? This would save me we had a guy say with just oil. He did a model just reducing their oil cost by knowing when the oil life was at 0 and they needed to change it, because you could change oil, prematurely. He quantified it like this would save us $20 million a year just in oil spend, just by having. And I said, well, maybe we need to charge you more for your licenses, but so yeah, it's those it's those cool aha moments when they think about radical scalability.
Yeah.
When yes, the independent operator at Nick's Pizza, this would be a little bit too much, and I can be more reactive to it. But if I'm Nick's Pizza at 100 units, 1,000 units, 2,000 units, and I'm running the show with 6 people, that's just it. You're just doing more firefighting, and you're not working harder, not smarter.
So true. Great stuff. I'm going to kick it over. Doug, are you able to unmute? Doug Higgins, part of our Rising Tide community. Doug,
hey Shawn, how are you?
Yeah, great. What's your question for Nick, or what's your feedback on the pitch?
Yeah, sorry, I was tuned out for the last couple of minutes because I was you caught me at a moment I was handling a coding issue.
All good.
Yeah.
Well, what are you working on a Friday?
Oh man, I have a quoting engine that we've been building for the last couple months. To estimate the as-built drawing cost, for any space in the United States. Yeah, and
Amazing.
so kitchens and all that included.
Very cool. Any updates? Anything we can do as a community? We appreciate you joining, even as you're busy.
Yeah, well, no, I appreciate it, and and sorry you caught me. You caught me.
You're all good.
At a distracted moment there, but no, I appreciate it. I'll be announcing this pretty soon. It's right now I'm just kind of at the mercy of when I get feedback on the on the iterations of the thing. So I'm just in the weeds of it, but appreciate it.
You got it. Speaking of iterations, Nick, how do you guys solicit feedback from your top customers? Do you have an advisory board, or what do you guys do?
We do. We have weekly and biweekly check-ins with our when we're doing major rollouts to get feedback and solicit. We tell people try to break it, or let us know if we're missing a data point. So we have a really, really tight-knit loop of good users that we talk with and tell them, and they'll come to us. And we had a really good example of our first big, I guess our first major rollout that we did. One of them came to us and said, hey, we'd love it if you can do a different role in there to give just specific visibility to this specific role. And we said, well, we never thought about that. So like a franchisee level corporate, creating a hierarchy, it was actually for a facilities person. So can a facilities person only have certain optics under their territory? And we said, that's a really great idea. And we, of course we knocked it out for them, and they super appreciative. But yeah, we often, I ask, some of my power users, and they'll say, this is a nice to have. And I say, give me the need to haves in the software. What are the need to have? The nice to have of, telling me the water temperature and a bean to cup coffee machine. Yeah, that's great. But like, what do you need operationally to where when it's a code red or a yellow, what do you need to know? So
how important is the Wi-Fi infrastructure at the restaurant?
We're actually really, really, we operate on a super low latency. So it doesn't have to be, we know we've been working with,
you've been working with restaurants,
retail to C-stores to, we're not just in hospitality and the restaurant side, but no, we've gotten it pretty good to be able to be on their Wi-Fi. We will caution and do test off the beginning. So if you need to add an additional gateway, we give, that feedback of saying, hey, it's kind of a weak signal, but all of our stuff gives us the Wi-Fi signal in the dashboard, and we'll say, hey, maybe move this here or whatever. So that hasn't been a super issue, and all of our stuff's redundant. So even if you go offline, as soon as you come back online, it's going to automatically resync and then push all of the data that it's stored up into the cloud. So that's been important. Yeah.
Dean LeBay, what's your question or feedback?
Oh, I'm jazzed. A while back, you remember when Ashwin was talking about pricing, dynamic pricing? Remember that?
Yep.
Well, as I'm an older guy, but growing up, you remember Breaker 19, Breaker 19, CB radio?
Yep.
Well, part of that was, you always had somebody in front that would tell you that there's a problem ahead, you need to slow down.
Yep.
And with this system that I understand that Nick has, it's basically, that's kind of what that is. It's the information highway, and what it is with the Internet of Things, he's basically telling you, the system tells you when you're fixing to have a problem. You mentioned 86 repairs. I mean, those guys got to love.
Yep.
Oh no, we lost Dean. Yeah, can you share a little bit more? We're 86 repairs. We're huge fans. Daniel and the entire team. They do amazing work. Can you just share a little bit more about the partnership?
Yeah, we talk with them about how this could be a service and maintenance program just as much as it can, tell you about product mix and what your sell through is. So Daniel and I met several years ago, infant stage, and we just started to kick the can about, what could this be? We talk at every NRA show. We have dinner. We'll go to like an RTI after event. So he essentially what they could do. We're looking for a good mutual customer. There's savory brands. It's great, but we're looking for somebody that's kind of in this ecosystem of, I'm buying this piece of Middleby equipment and then I'm utilizing 86 repairs, and then we want to sit and fit in the middle and find out how to automate and shoot data to them.
Yeah.
We're not there yet because it's all we just have these awesome thought leadership conversation of how it could work and should work, but that's a big strategic focus for us on the service, is how to automate truck rolls based off severity of what we see in the software, which would be, Shawn, could you imagine, or Mike, you're operating a restaurant, you're really busy, and then handyman Steve shows up and says, hey, I'm here to fix the AC unit, and you say, what do you mean there's no problem? And they said, no, there is. Your compressor's down, I've already fixed it, I'm out the door. 0 guest complaints on comfort. Amazing. I mean, just we think about, people just knowing, or based on your predictions, imagine just, I think my old boss used to say, I want one day where Amazon just shows up and delivers what they think I want and I'll take it, based off my historical. So that's really the 2026 top 3 things we're strategically working on. We have something right now that I could speak to that is automating a filter order based off of an end of life widget that we have based on cook cycles that eliminates the need for Shawn to order a filter for a fryer, and it auto ships based on that data. Sweet. So that's our first, we wanted to start baby steps, but it's working. We've had orders, and the end user, what it does is it protects from them going on Amazon and buying some non-OEM product, right? But B, they don't have to worry about that. And it shows up and it's easy, and you dump it in, and it's going to protect your warranty as well. So
that's a big deal. Dean, are you able to unmute again? I don't think so. One thing, Nick, I love the positioning in your pitch of having the prospect tell you what their dream kitchen is. Like, what does the kitchen of the future look like? Like making them go through that exercise allows a lot of opportunity for you to fill in. Hey, guess what? We do all that, all those things that you wish were happening. We do fulfill those. Biseglia, you're up. Go for it.
Yeah, great job, Nick. You said something just after the pitch now that was interesting when you were talking about fryer losing oil and it giving you information once you need to have it back. I was thinking if you were driving a car and it didn't have your gas gauge and you were just kind of driving it like, okay, like, do I have gas or not? And like that information, thinking of it from a restaurant perspective, how important it is to have that kind of data. I'm curious from your end, if it's like a franchise or more than multi locations, if something were to happen in one place, is the data then shared to other restaurants that might have similar equipment so that they can kind of be in sync. If you're seeing a trend in one restaurant, that it might be something that could help another location, if that's something that you guys have thought of.
Yeah. So every facility, it depends on what they want to benchmark, right? What we call out. So I think a good example of that is we formulate what's called an HVAC fix list for facilities guys, once a month, once every 2 weeks. And what it'll do is benchmark from the moment we install. We say the good, the bad, the ugly. Hey, this one's going to need repair. But it really helps out when you're managing a huge fleet of saying, okay, these assets are old. We're spending way too much money on repairing these. We need to allot budget to replace these next year because we've spent X, Y, and Z. So typically, yes, I mean, most restaurants, if you're raising canes, you're using the same fryers across the set, the whole fleet. What we're seeing as far as benchmarking now is when they're buying new equipment, right, versus old equipment, and they're saying, hey, we've got to upgrade now because we're saving so much and there's so much value in this one-touch controller, will that help phase out our legacy equipment, right? So we're doing benchmarking as far as that. We're also looking at, we were nominated for, and we won a Kitchen Innovation Award for Oil Smart, and there's like huge dollars involved in that, where we've worked with major chicken chain, and they said, hey, we spend X amount of hundreds of millions of dollars on oil, right? And we said, okay, well, with a TPM sensor, most people, if I ask a restaurant, we filter the oil on Thursdays. Why? Did you cook the exact same amount of food from Thursday to Thursday? That a lot of that, and you're literally just dumping money down the drain. I'm like, well, you're only using these two out of a 4-vat fryer, so why are you filtering all this oil, right? Or why are you polishing and wasting all of this? So again, we're a little bit ahead of, I think, the ask as far as benchmarking, because this connected equipment, what people are buying, this is like a last 3-year kind of evolution that we're seeing. But I think benchmarking as well, as far as like, we noticed that somebody was using a rapid cook oven and hitting the same button over and over for an egg sandwich, right? I said, that's crazy how many egg sandwiches you guys are selling at 4:30 in the afternoon. And they said, oh, well, where's the button placement? It's the fastest, easiest button. It's like you go and they don't toast the same way or whatever, so they weren't following spec. Yeah. So then they call the manager, and I said, well, that's you guys' button. We just put it there. And then they go back, and yeah, sure enough, they watch the same cook use the same cook cycle over and over for egg sandwich, avocado toast, sandwich, because it was easy, right? Yeah. Restaurateurs and cooks are the masters of, just putting Band-Aids over. Yeah, just, hey, we're gonna just be as efficient as possible, and we don't care about the end user. We just want this sandwich off the line, hit the button, and keep going. So.
Yeah, and from a pitch perspective too, I love when you gave some of those examples, like when you talked about the walk-in and the temperature. You had to move the meat from one location to another. Like for me, that resonates. Just seeing those examples and telling me them, I thought was a really, really effective for someone as well as me who doesn't own a restaurant or is not there. Like it was really, it's like it kind of clicked in my head.
Well, you have a fridge at home, and based on how old you and I know you've had a fridge go out on you at some point in your life, and you open it up, you go to bed and you're like, hey, the ice looks kind of soft. And then you wake up the next morning and you're like, how long has all this frozen food been thawed out? And you just, I don't take the gamble. I'm like, well, there's $250 worth of chicken nuggets and Tostitos pizza rolls, like going in the trash.
No, I was thinking just as a homeowner, like it would be nice to know when that happens.
Yeah. It would have
just saved money in groceries.
You got $500 of groceries in there, and it's like, imagine a national chain. And that's what's funny too, when you talk with them, there's a lot more that do not have temp monitoring than there are that do have temp monitoring. And this is easy. I mean, this is a sensor that's literally, maybe the size of and you throw it in, it's on the Wi-Fi, and guess what? When it gets above 42 degrees, it's going to say, hey, Shawn, did you leave the door open, or are you getting a truck roll, or is your prep cook going in and out? Like that's easy. We the temp monitoring is like an easy get in there, and then we start to really spider web off of that and create what I like to call like a really sophisticated ecosystem based off that.
Awesome. Dean, did you have any follow-up? You got cut off.
I don't know. I got too excited. I'm sorry.
Don't ever get excited don't ever be sorry for your excitement.
No, I just, I talked to, I think I talked to y'all about this, a while back. I said, when is somebody going to make that connection between the back of the house and the front of the house?
Yep.
When is somebody going to, when is this going to happen? And when I went to the NRA show this last year, there was 2 different people doing it, and I dropped by and they said, you need to go talk to Open Kitchen down there. And I said, really? And they said, yeah. So I don't know. I love going to NRA. I think it's the best show on earth, the biggest show on earth. And
Troy,
Troy Hooper.
Oh my God,
Troy. Do you know the Troy Hooper, Nick?
Oh yeah.
Who doesn't?
Troy's famous. No, Dean, I appreciate your kind words, Dean. I mean, you've always been a super big advocate, and I just got kind of burnt out of selling the same, online ordering with, native loyalty. And I said, man, been there, done that, go with Toast, do a great job. You got big pockets. There's some other players that, that could help out. So when they approached me and the recruiter said, hey, what about, cooking equipment? I said, I don't know about that. That's not really. And they said, no, what about connecting? I'm all about software efficiencies. Utilize, we're doing some machine learning stuff now for those predictive and reactive maintenance of how to automate. So it's it's a wave, and I love it every day. I love talking, and that's what it is right now. It's a lot of talking and just really architecting and designing what the kitchen of the future. It looks different for Pepper Lunch than it will for Chipotle, than it will for IHOP. Like the kitchen of the future is just it's in the eye of the beholder, and we just try to help create that with them.
Well, let's go to the kitchen.
Robots is what it's full of.
Let's go to the kitchen of the future. Pepper Lunch Restaurant. Troy Hooper, who are you? What are you building? And what do you know about Powerhouse Dynamics? Or what questions do you have for Nick?
Well, I missed the pitch. I know
you did miss the pitch, but I think you're qualified enough. You've been enough pitches about restaurant technology that you're probably the most qualified to come in without any background of what's going on, and you can give us some valuable feedback.
All right. Well, I'm Troy Hooper. I'm CEO of Hot Palate America, the parent company of Pepper Lunch Restaurants, co-CEO of the brand worldwide. We have 555 restaurants. I found out last night we will end the year with 559. We're at 555 right now. So we're the Gary V number right now.
Let's go.
But wish I had realized we were going to be 555 far enough in advance. I would have got Gary out to Hawaii for the Hawaii opening. Because that's the score that clinched it. That would have made sense, right? But anyway, so Japanese fast casual brand, also the host of the Pineapple Perspective podcast, wherever you listen to, but I'd encourage you to watch it on YouTube because the folks we have on are quite attractive and lovely like myself to watch as well as listen to. Anyhow, no, man, I really do. I hate that I missed it. My PR meeting got pushed back, but I don't know anything. I mean, I know Nick, but I don't really know anything about Powerhouse Dynamics. I'll say the kitchen of the future truly is going to have robots. It's kind of been slow going here in the restaurant industry. We've had some fits and starts, but I can tell you for a fact that robots are washing dishes at the Panera Test Center, test kitchen, and robots are doing other things in other restaurants that aren't just frying food. And sometimes robots is not, a humanoid with arms. It can be. It can be AI vision. It can be, other forms of intelligence, video monitoring intelligence where AI is helping you optimize your workflow in the kitchen or your accuracy or your guest experience in the dining room. We're going to be testing all of that as well. So, robots can mean a lot of things, but it's definitely tech forward. It's definitely integrated. I think there's going to be a lot of consolidation in the SaaS side of our industry, but we're going to see a lot of integration with hardware and middleware to really make things automate. Look, I think AI at the end of the day, we're going to leapfrog. If AI didn't exist, this process would take a really, really long time. I think we're going to leapfrog over a bunch of steps that we might have taken in more of an industrial avenue of development and innovation. I think AI is going to put us in a position to jump over quite a few steps and go from kind of what not really a super big deal today in the restaurant physically to to no humans in any restaurant in entire brands being made without humans. So
well, let's do a fun exercise. Nick, you have 5 minutes to pitch Troy and Pepper Lunch restaurants on Powerhouse Dynamics.
I'll make it specific.
We're going to do it live. We're going to do it live right here, right now.
Well, as a good steward and as a restaurateur, since I know Pepper Lunch, I will tell Troy how he can use it at Pepper.
Fantastic.
How would anybody know?
This is what I'm talking about.
The difference is I know that Pepper Lunch has their own proprietary cooking system because I've seen it in action in Las Vegas at the show, right? So what I would do is maintaining the only thing with Pepper Lunch is going to be about consistency. The same time over and over, there still are human elements to the cook line of adding and portioning and all of the correct things. So I would say that imagine he's got the hot plate, right? And I know that it's supposed to be at 600 or 700 or 800 degrees with open kitchen. If I put a connector module or I was monitoring that data, I'd be able to fire over to him. Hey, this is failing. This isn't work. It's not getting to temp at the correct time. He's got I think their own, a big rice cooker, like back to the left, right? So imagine if I said, hey, the steam isn't working here. The module isn't that. As they scale, right, 555 locations, what if I had a cockpit that was sending him and the facilities team all these data and all these insights to know where they should go instead of firefighting everything? They know that at location 6, at 524, I've got an issue, X, Y, and Z. I need to get in there and check it out, right? And make sure. We've talked with Troy about EMS, the footprint, how to monitor energy spend, reducing that, and then temp monitoring, right? If I'd ask Troy, do you guys use anybody to monitor your temperatures in the walk-in coolers?
We do.
Okay. So that'd be another avenue. But again, single pane of glass that he talked about consolidation and talked about SaaS fatigue and all of this. If I can check 2 or 3 more boxes other than temp monitoring, I become attractive. If he said, hey, I'm only paying, X, Y, and Z to do one singular thing, I said, well, I can create this whole IoT infrastructure for you, you and Mark, and I can give Mark all the data he needs. All of a sudden, he opens up his pocket. He opens up his pocketbook and says, hey, I'll write the check, right? So.
Well, my franchisees will write the check, but sure.
Sure.
No, right. Well,
when I saw that somebody signed a big, I don't know how many unit deal, it was announced on you guys' social probably like a couple of weeks ago. But if I have 30 units and I'm trying to figure out how to scale and I've got one facilities guy, if I can just notify and tap him or her on the shoulder when things are going wrong at store number 3, 4, and 5, instead of waiting for a GM to call me and bug me and say it's hot in here or, this equipment's failed. I mean, where's the value, right?
Now that's a different conversation. I'll introduce you to Bobby Shaw, the Chief Business Officer.
That's right. It's Bobby that made the post. Yeah.
Yep.
Amazing.
Good job.
Yeah.
Great stuff. Well done, Nick. Let's go and do Nick, number one, how can people reach out to you guys if they want to learn more? Do you guys where are you guys showing up next year? Trade show.
Oh gosh. So if you look up Middleby, our parent company, one of our brands I heard is going to 144 shows next year.
What? That's more than Troy Hooper.
Yeah,
definitely.
That is more than Troy Hooper. That's amazing.
Yeah, we're going to have a big showcase. I would encourage people, since anybody and everybody goes to NRA, we have the big massive booth. When you walk in to the right and you talk about robotics, come to the burger bar, see a fry bot, come and taste coffee. We do live cooking demonstrations and we can chat about IoT. You can reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm super active. So I'm always, 15 minutes. I think I've got my link to even book time with me on my LinkedIn.
But Nick, real quick, is Troy Hooper your number one connection on LinkedIn in 2025? That's what because I'm collecting those tiles.
Troy, no, it was one of my employees. It's actually it's one of my employees, and she's asked me like, "Hey, I want to get more visible. I don't want what was it?
You got to comment, share, and repost on other people."
Yeah, no, she says I don't want a bunch of connections. I want a bunch of followers. And I said, "There you go. That's a great segue." So yeah, her name's Jordan, and she was actually my number one, like, because she's asked me to update her stuff and help her. She's actually reached out and the one that's talked with Mark on your team.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
But Troy, Shawn, you guys always do a great job. Dean is like the first to like any post that I have.
Bells on with Dean.
Yeah, I think it's just super.
Dean likes my post before I can get to the comment and tag Dean.
Yeah.
Like I'm literally writing names at so and so at so and so. I don't even have to do it for Dean. Dean's already liked the post before I can hit the comment.
I think it's so true that our industry is such a fraternity of, it's in our blood. I talk about it. I think about restaurants. I can't even go out to eat anymore because I'm like, man, they can definitely do that like this, or oh man, they opened up a rapid cook oven tour. Like, I just such an acute focus on how we can all get better in this community and grow. And we're in, I mean, these have been wild times, 5 years, right? And labor rising, and then tariffs this year. I'm like, can we catch a break at any avenue? Foot traffic down, digital pivot, right? Like my dad gets frustrated because he can't go and sit down in a dining room at a Wendy's anymore. He's like, they don't even have the dining room open. They want me to get it to go. And so there's this huge evolution. I said it at the beginning. We're redefining the future of hospitality. It's data, it's information, it's IoT. It's just really creating a tight-knit system that multi-unit operators can utilize, and then come back to us and say, this is great.
That's awesome.
Let's ask a quick question.
Yeah, go for
it. So Nick, I guess I was an asset manager for many years. I used to get energy efficiency pitches all the time, and it was hard to stay focused on the value proposition. And I'm curious. I kind of heard three. As you were pitching Troy, it's there's a consistency message, there's the energy efficiency kind of incremental ongoing, savings. And then there's this notion of loss aversion, which is like you can prevent a disaster before it happens if you see equipment failing. Yep. And so how do you kind of prioritize those, and what is really the primary focus of your messaging when you're pitching folks?
I think that's a great. I think that you get in trouble by pitching savings in general when you lock into a number, because an electric spend is a variable I don't have control of, right? What I have really pivoted over the last year is that if you call and you scramble right now and your rooftop unit is out at one of your pepper lunch, they've got you by the mercy, and they can charge you whatever they want when they arrive on site, and you're going to pay it. $2,000, cool. For a capacitor that costs $70, fine. What I like is saying, hey, Doug, next time you're scheduling repair and maintenance, which you should have a repair and maintenance program of somebody coming out, walking, I really think you should check on rooftop unit number 2. We've noticed kind of some anomalies, right? That's hard for me to quantify, but the direct cost of calling an emergency technician plumber right now versus somebody else that's walking, right, and doing an inspection, and they could fix it then. I think there's value to that. I think there's a lot of value to optics, knowing what's going on before it happens, instead of waiting for a facilities guy to get called. And all they're going to get from me as a general manager is, it's hot in here. Where's it hot? What zone? What RTU? I don't know, man. I'm busy. Get somebody out here.
Or worst case, they came in this morning and the walk-ins, 62 degrees.
Yeah. Oh, that was something else we talked about, is just loss aversion is a really, really good way, Doug, of, I don't quantify it in front of somebody, but I said there's a very stark difference between putting something on a schedule and getting somebody to come look at my pool pump for $100 and just doing a quick checkup versus, hey, my pool pump is out, my pool's green, and now I'm in this $1,500. I could have paid somebody $100 based on the data that we're giving them. So that's how I pitch it. I mean, it's like anything. If I turn off my AC right now, which it's off.
Wait, do you do pool pumps too?
No. Well,
okay.
Water flow sensors. I mean, we've had people ask us about hot water heaters and how to monitor that. So we don't say no to an idea of how to track and monitor something. I'll leave it at that. So, yeah.
So are you measuring like vibration, on, some of these units, or is temperature the primary, focus of your sensor tech?
Our sensor tech primary is circuit trace, is CT sensors, and what we get a lot of data off of is the actual energy pole. So
fluctuating,
the fluctuation, or what we know that there's an air, like HVAC is a very simplistic unit when you break it down. Same with the heater. It works, it's on, it blows the same ambient temperature. So triangulating 3 data points, supply temperature versus your energy draw should be, 13, 15,000 kilowatt hours, and it's at 8,000. We know that there's failure. Hey, we think since your supply air temperature is not matching what your thermostat set off and it's only drawing this much power, we think you've got a compressor out. It's not getting into stage 2 cooling. So it's not
better
complex,
proxy.
but yeah, we've been doing it so long that we'll guess, or we'll say, hey, that, or we think your unit's iced over, it might've been left over. That was not like, food safety. So between all those data points, and then automating, we do automating based on like, say you think your foot traffic, can we have one zone drift higher in a non-peak time because maybe somebody's not back in the office area. So making that one unit, and then we take the technology and we really understand what that individual box is. Is it sun facing? Do I need to offset because a remote sensor is in the wrong placement here? So there's a couple of things. It's not, no facility is the same. So we really get in there and try to figure it out. And it takes us 30 to 60 days. And then we really get it to where it's a set it, forget it program. And then we send you alerts and reports, either daily, monthly, whenever you want. And we say, hey, we should probably check out, this, that, and the other, and let us know if it was right or wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Great stuff.
Awesome.
Well, if you guys are watching this, just a reminder, 2026, these are our last Wednesday and Friday shows of the year. So we're going to give the team a little bit of a break. We still will be publishing content, but just no live shows for the rest of the year. If you want to host a show in 2026, let us know. podcast@calibbq.media. We will put links in the show notes for how to keep in touch with Nick and how to learn more, hopefully more Powerhouse Dynamic stories. Before we go through, let's do, what is your one word for 2025 and why? Mike, we'll start with you. One word for 2025 and why?
Growth. I think I had a lot of growth. It's funny, one word, I could go in a lot of detail on it, but that you get me thinking, but that was the first thing that popped in my eye. I think I just had a lot of personal and professional growth.
Awesome. Troy Hooper, one word.
I got a lot of words for 2025. It's community. You'll see that in my post tomorrow, on Monday probably, but it's community.
Will you tag me in that post?
Yes, I will. You're welcome.
Good. Thank you.
But yes, I spent a lot of time with this community. I met a lot of new people. I learned a lot of new things. I stretched myself and spoke about new things, surprised myself at the response. So yeah, overall, at the end of the day, blown away by the support, the love, the cheerleading that I've got out there in the universe. So yeah, community, it's all about people.
Love it. Nick, how about you? One word for 2025.
Oh man, I think innovative. I just think that there's been a lot of brands, either you figured it out by now, there's legacy brands. I think just people have had to be very innovative and strategic this year, because there's just like, food cost is through the roof. People are selective, right? Going out to eat, family of 4 or 5, it's expensive, right? There's no doubt about it. So I think I've seen just some super awesome, innovative ways that people are driving value. Value doesn't just come from a Big Mac meal. Value can come from an experience. It can come from, Troy community, right? Showing up, supporting, Pepper Lunch is a prime example. It's an innovative concept, right? Nobody else does it. So I think innovation has been key this year. And now that, going back to Powerhouse, this was the first year that we've really seen these innovative conversations come to light and rolling out across, national chains. And it's just teaching us so much, it's invaluable. So
awesome. How about you, Doug? One word for 2025.
Well, I'm tempted to second growth there, Mike. I think I don't like AI so much, as the word, right? But I think thematically,
Actually, I think the word is slop. The actual word of the year was slop. But anyways, go ahead.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, growth and ingenuity, we got our first, really big project, a couple months ago and killed it, and that I think has opened a lot of doors. And now, we've been waiting to really invest on the technical side and grow out the scalability of our platform, and that's just the most exciting part for me. So we're still kind of pre-scale, but right at that edge where, we can invest in the tech and start to grow. And so I like growth.
Awesome. Dean LeBay.
Storytelling. I think that kind of takes into everything what everybody's saying: growth, innovation, and so on. Keep telling your story, because that's how you learn about each other and that's how you connect. And Nick, I mean, I can't wait to hear the stories, and I can't wait to see you in Chicago in May, and maybe we'll tell some stories together.
Absolutely.
Awesome. And I'll go ahead and wrap it up. My word for 2025 is commitment. I think from a team standpoint, from a personal standpoint, from a business standpoint, we have asked for commitment from our storytelling partners, and they have responded, which makes 2026 very exciting. We've made a commitment to this community. We've made a commitment to storytelling. In the beginning, no one's watching and no one cares and no one shows up. But this community is proof that it only takes small and few leaders to show up and show up for each other. For those of you that have been part of the community, for those that are listening, for those that are new, please join us. Come up here, come on stage. You don't have to come every week. If you do, that's phenomenal. But if you come once, we will be proof that when you do show up at a show in LA or a show in Vegas or a show in Chicago, you will be welcomed. The rising tide does lift all ships, and the commitment is there. Nick, thank you for your commitment to us today. Thank you for telling the story today. We can't wait to see you in real life. And thank you all. Thank you, Mike, for producing. Thank you, Stover, Kyle, the entire Cali Barbecue Media team, but more importantly, the Rising Tide community that keeps showing up. We appreciate you guys. Troy, Dean, Doug, Mike, and Nick, thank you guys for being here today. And we'll catch you all in 2026.
You got it. Happy holidays, everyone.
Holidays.
Take care. See you guys.
Bye.
Great show, guys.